gonna buy everything that they've written because it's great. I love it so much. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we're at the start of another weekly reading vlog, and this week we're doing the full moon readathon, which I'm so excited for. This is hosted by Jan. I'll have her channel linked below. This is a readathon that's taken place from the 1st to the 13th of August. I did start the readathon on time, 1st of August, so if you saw last week's reading vlog you would know that I started it then. We started making headway on some of the prompts. I read one book for it, and this week I want to really try and focus in and get hopefully 2 books read for this readathon. That's the plan. We're gonna see how it goes. The way this readathon works is you're collecting characters, and each character has 2 reading prompts to fulfill. So there are 4 characters in total, but I'm focusing on 2 of them, which is the Raven and the Mummy. Now I made progress with the Mummy last week by reading a book that I've had for a while, which was Finley Donovan Knocks Them Dead by Ellie Cosmano. I enjoyed this one. I thought it was a fun, entertaining time. So I got book 1 done for the readathon. So I've got 3 books left to read. I would like to read 2 of them this week. We're gonna see how it works. The priority for me this week is to finish The Mummy and read the paperback prompt, which I am going with The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. This is a book I've been meaning to read for ages. The first book, Interview with a Vampire, was my favourite book ever. I adored it so much. It skyrocketed to my favourite book. I loved everything about it. The gorgeous, dark, decadent writing style, to the things and themes that it was exploring. Like, it was so well done. In that book we are following Louis as he is retailing his story to an interviewer about how he became a vampire and everything afterwards. And the person that turned him into a vampire is Lestat, and we're now getting Lestat's story. I can't wait to read this. It's just under 550 pages. The text is tiny, but I really can't wait. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's going to be a fantastic read. I would like to start it tonight. So that is the plans for this week. If I manage to get this one done and we move on to another book for this readathon, perfect. Do you have an ebook that I'm wanting to read? I kind of started it a little bit today. I might end up picking it up at odd times throughout the week, so I'll mention it now just in case. It's not to do with the readathon. Don't think I can get it to work for any of... No. It doesn't work for any of the prompts for this readathon unless I was to do a 3rd character. But this one is the Discord book club pick for the month of August, which is The Adventures of Amina El Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty, and I've started this one and so far really like the writing style. I'm only in the very starting pages. I'm reading this on Libby and it says I am on chapter 2, page 34 of 750 pages. The first taste of this book I'm in love with. I love the writing of this book so much. I think it is so well written. So we have Amina telling us her story, and Amina is this pirate. There's been so many tales told about her and she is telling us this particular tale, and I really like it. I like the way it's interactive as well, because technically she's telling this like chronicler almost, but it's interactive as if we are the chronicler, which I really like, and I'm enjoying it. Like I said, I've only read the epilogue and the first chapter, so I'm really not far into this, but I really like it. There's something about this writing style that I'm really like it. I don't really know what else is going to happen in this book. I know that Amina has given up her pirating ways and then something is going to pull her back into it. I don't know what. I don't know anything else. All I can say is that I've just started it. I like the writing style, and this is one that I'm probably going to be reading over the course of the next week. If I'm traveling, doing things like tomorrow I'm going to get my nails done, so I'm probably going to read it while I'm getting my nails done. So we'll see how much of this I actually end up getting read. I'm not sure. It's not for anything within the readathon, but it is an ebook I want to be reading this month. Hopefully we'll get it done within a week. I may not, because I tend to only read ebooks on my phone if I'm actually out doing stuff, because I don't tend to like sit here and read on my phone for hours at home. But my main priority for this week is The Vampire Lestat. Go from there. So yeah, I hope you're all doing really well. I hope you enjoy this readathon. I'm very excited for it. Like, honestly, reading a book that I am anticipating to be an ultimate 5-star fantastic read. So excited about. So yeah, I have such high expectations for this book, which makes me scared because what if it doesn't live up to it? So it's always a scary time, but I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Very happy that I've got the time to be doing this readathon as well. I'm so excited for it all. So yeah, please let me know if you took part in Jan's readathon. I think by the time this video goes out, it's probably over. So let me know if you took part. But right, I am going to stop waffling on. I've got some bits to do and I'm gonna chill out and read this evening. That sounds very needed. Good morning. I had, well, an interesting day yesterday, I'm not gonna lie. So we did go get my nails done, just some simple rounded ones. I decided to try this little oval again because I used to love this shape, but I have to admit I prefer my longer daggers. They just make me feel more witchy. I'm not gonna lie. I just prefer it. So next time we'll go back to the longer dagger ones. These are so much more practical though. Anyway, yesterday I had planned to film quite a lot of videos because I'm trying to pre-film, so I want to get all of August's videos filmed and edited and all of September's videos done, but that didn't happen yesterday because my memory card crapped out on me. So I have two memory cards, the one that I use for vlogging and then the one that I use for all my other videos because I like to keep the footage separate. Also the one for the vlogging has a smaller memory capacity. Yeah, the other one I managed to get one video filmed and then partway through the other video it just had this error that came up, and it's happened before. Previous vlogging memory card error came up and then whatever I filmed afterwards I couldn't access, and it was very frustrating. And the same things happened again and I don't know what causes it. And I could look into like reformatting the card, except I don't want to lose the footage that I've already filmed, so I had to stop filming, which was kind of annoying. I ended up thinking about the amount of space I had left on this memory card and was like, I could probably film one more video, so I managed to get 2 done yesterday, but nowhere near the amount I wanted. So now I need to get hold of some more memory cards and try and get it as soon as possible because I really need to get the filming done. So yeah, that kind of put a spanner in the work, which isn't great. Honestly, it's so frustrating because I can't do without them, but at the same time, like, when they go to crap, they go to crap. So annoying, but never mind. At least I didn't lose all the footage I filmed that day, because that book haul that I filmed took me forever and I'd be so gutted if I lost that footage. I'd be so upset. But yeah, anyway, you're not here for that. I mean, maybe you are, because I tend to just chat to you as if like we're best friends and like you get to know everything. But let's go on to the reader news, because I have made really good progress with the Vampire Lestat. So I'm now up to part 3, page 151, and I'm liking this one. Now I haven't tabbed anywhere as much. If we compare to Interview the Vampire, you can definitely see the difference in tabs. However, I have a couple of things about that, because yesterday when I was thinking about what I had read and thinking about what I would say to you about the book, I realised actually there's probably so much more I could have tabbed. I just wasn't in the mood to tab yesterday, and sometimes I just get that. Like, I was still underlining stuff, but not always in the mood to associate it with a specific tab. But let's get into what this is about. So we are following Lestat, and when we first meet Lestat in this book, it is the 1980s, and he's like, oh my god, there's stuff everywhere, it looks really fun, really awesome. You know what? I'm going to become a rock star. And he approaches this group of musicians, tells them that he's actually a vampire, and they start laughing because they're like, what, you're the Vampire Lestat? Okay then. And they show him to Interview with the Vampire, and he then reads the story that Louis narrated. He's like, you know what, the ball's on this guy for telling the world about vampires and stuff. Yes, they don't really believe it's real, they believe it's fiction, but wow. And also the lies you did. And so Lestat decides that he is going to set the record straight. So he's going to become a rock star and he's going to write his own tale, his life story, and that is what this book is. So we then go into part 1, and part 1 we're seeing Lestat as a human. We're seeing him as he really doesn't know where he belongs. He's not happy with his family, they're quite destitute. He just has no idea what he wants. He has no purpose in life, and how that really worries him and scares him that he has no purpose. And then he ends up making friends with this gentleman called Nicholas, although they call him Nicky, and he starts to get that little spark of life again being around him, and his mother persuades him go off to Paris. And so that's the first part, that's what you get. And then in the second part You then see how he falls into despair again, feeling like there is no point to life. What is the point to anything anymore? We see him get changed into a vampire, and then he's suddenly like, oh my god, this is amazing, life is amazing again. So that's one of the tabs that I'm using at the minute, and it's in this pinky red colour, which is all about Lestat feeling lost, feeling like there is no purpose to life. And I could definitely tab way more than what I did, but as I said, I just wasn't feeling like tabbing yesterday, so I definitely think I'm going to go back through and tab those moments, because there are a lot of conversations that he has about God, what's the point of life, what is good and evil, and how that has something to do with life and the meaning of life and things like that. So that I really like. There's also a lot of talk about art and the way that we can find meaning in life through performing arts such as music and theatre. I was hesitant to give it a whole separate tab, but I feel like it's been consistent enough that I feel like it's going to come the rest of the way, because I feel like that's what Lestat is enamoured by, is the performing art. Like, he wants to become a rock star at the very start of this book. He then is obsessed with theatre, runs away to the theatre, is obsessed with his friend Nikki, who has good skill with the violin, and he has a lot of conversations about how art is so important. We give people a meaning behind their life through art, how we can entertain them for a few hours at a time and allow them to forget their troubles, and how important that is. And so there's a lot of conversations around performing arts and what it does for people within this book, which I really like as well. Art is all around you, and if you took that away from us, what would be the point? What would be the beauty in our lives if we take that away? So yeah, I really like that. I like the fact that Lestat is so focused on that, which I started tabbing with grey tab for quotes that I love, but I'm thinking to add in the extra tab of around art, or maybe just changing it to art, because I feel like the tab of I love this on its own, yes, there are points of it, but I feel like they aren't as frequent. I'm not sure. I'll come into that in a second. And then the last tab I'm using currently is like this yellowish colour, and that is for relationships, because Lestat is someone who loves and feels deeply, and so I've just been tabbing his different connections and how quickly he feels things. The reason why I feel like, to me, I do prefer Interview with the Vampire is just because I prefer Louis as a character. Louis is a lot more romantic about life. He philosophizes a lot more about morality and how becoming a vampire really questioned his moral on life, whereas with the Vampire Lestat, the writing style feels a lot different, because we are following Lestat and he's a very different person to Louis, and the writing kind of reflects that. There are moments where we get the sumptuous decadent writing that I loved in Into the Vampire, and they are around things like having blood for the first time, the ecstasy, the way that it's written in this very seductive quality, very similar to what happened in Interview with the Vampire. And I was tempted to tab it, but I feel like that's not going to come up anywhere near as much as it did in Into the Vampire. For some reason, I've just got this feeling that it's not going to be as big a thing. So you do have moments of that beautiful writing, but I think because we're seeing this from Lestat and he's the one writing this book, it makes sense that they feel so different in tone. He is a lot more like, I want to kind of say almost chaotic in a way. He's a lot more like emotional in the highs and lows of things. Like, he will be depressive at points and then he'll get this spike of hyperactiveness and happiness, and I feel like that gives it a very different reading style to Into the Vampire. But also I think it works. I think it works for him as a character. I like the fact that these books feel different because they are two very different people narrating their stories, and so if they felt the same, I feel like I would end up criticizing it because it felt too similar, and Lestat is a whole separate person. So I do appreciate it for that. I think I just need to add in the tab about art and the impact it has on our lives, and then go back through and add in more tabs to do with those moments where Lestat is in his despair and not knowing what to do with his life and what the purpose of life is. But it's not going to be a consistent tab all the way through, because he does go through these moments where he feels that way, and then there's a high of like, oh, I just moved to Paris and it's amazing, or oh, I've just become a vampire and look at all the things I can do. But eventually it's going to dip back down because that's just who he is. So I'm really enjoying this. I also didn't realize that my nails tiles match the colour of the text on this perfectly, and I was so happy when I realised that yesterday. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this. The plan is to read 100 pages a day, because something I forgot to mention is that in this weekly reading vlog we're going to have one day missing because I'm going to be doing the Relax and Readathon vlog. So the plan is to read 100 pages today, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then hopefully Saturday, because I'm actually bringing the readathon forward by one day. I was going to be doing it on the 10th on Saturday, however I've now got things come up, I've got lots of things to do that day, so I'm going to bring it forward by a day and do it on the 9th, on Friday. I'm not sure what order the videos you're going to see them in. I will have the correlating videos linked in the descriptions. At this current moment in time, I've got no idea which one's coming out first, because it depends how quickly I can get things edited and done as to what comes out on Wednesday and what comes out on Friday. But yeah, so I want to try and get this one done. If I do 100 pages over the next few days, I can get this finished Saturday evening, which will be perfect for me to then start the last bit of this readathon on Sunday in the next vlog, read one other book, and it should all be done. That's the plan. Whether it works or not, I guess we're going to find out. I am enjoying this book. I think it is lovely, and it's so easy to sit down and just binge read. There's just something about Anne Rice's writing style that I just don't want to stop reading, so I just constantly fly through the pages. It's great. Like 2 hours will pass and I'm like, oh, I haven't moved. Oh, yesterday, also, while I was getting my nails done, I did read more of The Adventures of Amina El-Sharafi. I don't know where I'm up to. Let me grab my phone. Libby's a little bit slow in loading books, I find, for me. Okay, so I'm up to chapter 4, page 102, and we're at the point where Amina has agreed to go on this rescue mission. So she is approached by someone who is, I think it's like the mother of someone that she knew that was on her ship at one point, and she is approaching Amina because her grandchild has been kidnapped and she needs Amina's help to get her back. And at first Amina is like, no, I'm done, I'm retired, I'm not doing any of this, but eventually gets persuaded to go and help. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing Amina just start to set off on that. I just like this writing style. Like, the way it's done is really good. I'm really enjoying it. Whether I get this finished inside this week, I honestly don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a push because I still have 650 pages. Now, I don't know if that's 650 phone pages or if this book is actually 650 physical pages long. I feel like if it is that many physical pages, there's no way I'm gonna get this done in a timely manner, just because, again, this is not my priority. This is like if I'm out doing things. I will try and get more of this read, we'll see, but you know what? I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. I'm pleased that I managed to get a good chunk read while I was getting my nails done, so that's really good. And we'll see about being able to read more throughout this week. I don't know when that's gonna happen, because my priority for this week is filming, editing, doing things like that. I'm not really traveling around too much. I don't know how much of this I'm actually going to get read, but I'm liking it. It's really good. It's really fun and entertaining. I wasn't sure how well I would get on with this because I haven't read many adventure seafaring books, but so far I'm liking this, and I think it's all down to the writing style, because the writing style is just so good. There's just something about it that I'm instantly connecting to, and I just think it works really well. That is everything. That's all the updates. I don't think I've got anything else to talk about. Today I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. It was meant to be filming, but I've got to wait for the memory cards to arrive. The memory cards take a little bit too long to arrive, then maybe we'll just start some editing. We'll see. We'll see. Basically, I've got no idea. I'm just kind of like, I've got an idea of what I wanted to do, but the whole memory card situation's messed it up, and I am a person that likes to stick to a plan, and so when the plans don't plan, I've then got to make sure I've got a backup plan, but I didn't plan a backup plan because nobody expected the memory card to go wrong. That's a whole ramble that you didn't really need. Thanks for listening, which I feel like I say all the time. But yes, I'm gonna carry on with Vampire Lestat today, hopefully read 100 pages. If I can read more than 100, that would be amazing and get me ahead. But right, okay, I'm gonna stop waffling. I'm sure you've had enough of this little update, so let's cue some B-roll of whatever I ended up getting up to today. I have started another book because, of course, I couldn't stick to one book at a time, even though it's not one book at the time. I'm now in the middle of 3 books and I'm enjoying it. I like having the mix. I'm feeling a little bit chaotic in my reading, so I feel like having 3 books on the go is actually a lot better for me. I don't know, it's just sometimes I get moments like that. Sometimes all I want to do is focus on one book at a time, and then I'll hit a point where I'm like, actually no, I don't want to do that. I just want lots of different things, and then throughout the day I can pick up what I'm in the mood for. It's a bit weird. We did also go book shopping today, which, holy cows, that was so hectic and stressful. It was one of those things where we went up into London, so my partner had work, so we were just spending the morning together, and we decided to go up into London and went to 2 different Waterstones, and they were all rammed. It was so busy. The last one I went to, they had some like book event going on as well, so literally you just, everywhere you went, you were bumping into people, and it was just like, you know what, no, this is just not me. And I've just been finding that when I go book shopping, it's just so much busier that I'm just not really feeling it. Definitely just preferring ordering stuff online, which I like going into a bookstore, but lately it's just so busy that it's just, I just don't want to deal with it, you know? While I'm talking about that, I might as well talk about the book that I went to get. So I went to get The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the book that has won for the cozy new release video that I'm doing. I could only fit in one to have a video come out this month for it. Basically another 24-hour daily readathon thing for this book, so that I can read it, review it, see what it's all about. And this is the one that won, where there was 3 different books to choose between. This one won by a landslide, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's a cute cozy fantasy, so I think that's going to be really lovely to read. So this was the book I was definitely going to get because I'm reading it next week, so I needed it sooner rather than later. But the idea was is that I was actually going to have a look around and actually treat myself to a few new books. Yeah, it just didn't happen. It was just so busy and so chaotic that I just got this one and left it at that. I have just filmed a book haul. Like yesterday I spent time filming a book haul, and I have a lot of books in there. I think it's just my concept today was I was going to go out shopping for cozy books, and that's what I really wanted, whether it was cozy mysteries or more cozy fantasy, cozy sci-fi, etc. That was what I wanted. It just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And the reason why I wanted the cozy ones is because I don't have many cozy books left on my TBR. As much as I'm going to be reading new releases as they come out, I also wanted a few backlist ones just to have on hand, and I just don't have that many because they're the books I read the quickest. I buy them, I read them very quickly. They're the shortest turnaround on my shelf. So I wanted to get a few. It wasn't worth the time. Which, speaking of, I did switch up to a cozy murder mystery yesterday. I did read more of the Vampire Lestat. I'm now up to, well, I'm in the middle of a chapter. Part woke up this morning. I was reading before we had to go out. I'm now up to page 266, and I am liking it, but we have hit a point where I'm just not annotating at all. There was a couple of weird things that happened that I'm just like, I'm sorry, what now? So this is going to be slightly spoilery, so if you don't want to be spoiled at all, then I will put up a spoiler thing. Once it's gone, that will be fine, but otherwise skip past. There was a scene where Lestat, his mother has come to Paris and she is dying, and so he decides to change her into a vampire. Understandable, that's absolutely fine. What's weird about it is he's then like, oh, she's my lover, and I'm like, she's your mum. What are you doing? This is gross. And I'm like, why? And I kind of get that the argument could be made that it shows that they're no longer human, that it shows that they're no longer bound by human rules and constraints, that being a vampire releases all of that, and it is all about everything sexual, sensual, in every sense of the way. However, it's still wrong. Like, it was still like, what? No thank you. And then we moved on to this other bit. There's been a lot more like almost like actiony stuff going on, and we meet a character that we have met in the first book, which I did like, seeing that character again, seeing the connection and everything there. I thought that was really interesting and I did enjoy that. But I don't know, there's something about this where I'm just not, it's not bad. I just want to put that, it's not a bad book at all. It's just not as good as the first one for me. Of course I'm then going to talk about more about it not being as good, but that doesn't mean that this is a bad book. Still really like it. I think the writing style is still absolutely lovely in points. There are moments of this where the writing style is absolutely beautiful, which is what I love. And I have already said that I do think it needs to be different because you are seeing it from a completely different person, so the books need to feel different. It's just for my reading taste, I'm preferring the other one by a lot. And it did get to the point that I was reading, I think I read about 50 pages of this yesterday, and I was like, I need a break. I need to break up with something, but I still wanted to read, and I decided to go with a cozy murder mystery, and this was exactly the right move. I'm having so much fun with it, doing it that I read 50 pages, then I can read more of this. We'll see whether I get these all finished this week. It might be as a result that I get nothing finished this week, who knows, but I'm loving this so much. So I'm up to chapter 9, page 65. I should say this is Death Comes to Marlowe. This is the second book in the Marlowe Murder Club Mysteries by Robert Thorogood, and I'm loving this so much. So I have started tabbing. I've only got 2 tabs going on. I only wanted 2. I could have a third one for funny moments, but I decided I didn't want that. So I've got blue for facts of the case, orange for suspicions, things that don't quite make sense, etc. Having so much fun. Oh, I'm having so much fun being back with Judith. So Judith is a 78-year-old lady who likes to swim nude in the Thames. It is January, it's bloody freezing outside, but that's not stopping her. We first meet her and she's going for a dip in the Thames near her house, and yeah, she's nude. She comes across a dead duck. This swan then attacks her. She jumps out onto the bank to get away from the swan, interrupts a family that's like seeing the sight, and she's like, hello, and jumps back into the water and swims home. Honestly, it's so entertaining. It's so funny, and Judith is so unapologetically herself that I love it. But the mystery is kick-starting when Judith gets home from this dip and then being chased by a swan to a phone call. And so she answers this phone call and she's been invited to this wedding celebration, and she's like, okay, but you're getting married tomorrow. Why would you suddenly invite me out the blue? I don't even know you. And he's like, oh no, but I'm celebrating all the important people in our community because it's a little town. And she's like, yeah, whatever. You're probably just like, let's just hope no murder happens, because that's the only reason why she's seen as like, oh, she's now someone prominent because she helped solve the murders from the first book a few months ago. And he's like, what? No one's in fear for their life here. And she's like, well, that is very oddly worded. So now I'm going to come and find out what's actually going on. So she arrives there. She brings in her friends as well. She drags Susie with her. Bex was already going. 2 characters you meet in the first book that get pulled along with Judith and her crazy train of doing stuff. But while they're there, a murder does happen. But it's a locked room murder. Like, the door was locked, the windows are locked, and they clearly haven't been opened in a very long time. And yet what's caused the murder would not have been able to move without help. So it's like, how does that happen? And yeah, it's all locked. So it's like, who could have done this? Because there's nowhere for someone to hide. There's no way for them to get in. I love it. I'm so excited. I've enjoyed it so much. It's going to be so much fun. It's entertaining. It was exactly what I needed. So yeah, I'm going to be continuing on with this. I'm not sure what I'm doing this afternoon. The plan was to edit a video, but I'm also uploading a video, and sometimes my laptop doesn't like me to do both at once. It's all to do with the Wi-Fi stuff. It's pretty bad here. That means that I may get more reading time in, which I am not complaining about. So we'll see. We'll probably hopefully get some good progress in on these. And that's everything. I want to make some nachos for dinner, so I might film that if I remember. Because I think that would be rather tasty. And yeah, that's everything. I'm enjoying both books. I think they're really good, and I'm pleased that I've got a nice cozy fun time to break up this book, because as much as I do think the writing is very good, I am also finding it's dragging a little bit for me, and I'm just wanting to break it up. So I think pairing these together is perfect. I have read a tiny bit more of The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi. I actually read 1 chapter travelling home today, so I don't really have any more thoughts to add to that. Like I say, I think this is one that's going to take me a little bit longer to actually read and get through. So yeah, oh, I didn't actually say the Death Comes to Marlowe is actually a pick for the Full Moon Readathon. This one is for the Raven, for the prompt of read a book by a favourite author. And I did in my TBR video and R about this, because there's a lot of favourite authors that I have that I wasn't sure what to do. And I'm like, can I count Robert Thorogood as a favourite author when I've only read 1 book? Because technically to me, a favourite author, you need to have read at least like 2 books to really get that feeling. But I really wanted to read this book, so I was just like, no, I just want to get it on this list. Please, that I went with that, because honestly, yes, Robert Thorogood, I'm going to buy everything that they've written because it's great and I love it so much. Very happy with that. So it still is working. We are making good progress for the readathon, so that's good. I think I'm actually going to change up the book I'm reading for my 24-hour readathon, which is happening Friday. I want to finish out this readathon. Ow, God, I've done something to my side. I don't know what I've done, but if I move too much, it hurts. But yeah, so I'm thinking I've got a little book on the readathon for the full moon readathon that I might put into the 24-hour readathon. Okay, I'm waffling. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. I think I'm just procrastinating because I don't really feel like editing right now. To be honest, all I want to do is sit down and read more of this. So maybe I'll just go do that. Maybe I'll just take half hour to go sit, read this book, and then do like half hour worth of editing, do some food, and go from there. Thanks for helping with that. Okay, right, I'm just gonna do a hot drink and we're just gonna read an ow, that hurt. Oh my God, I'm gonna have a bath tonight and loosen up whatever the hell has gone on with this muscle here because it bloody hurts as well. This is chaos. That is what I feel like all I've done. Yesterday was so nice. I didn't leave the house once. It was absolutely beautiful. I love a day like that. I got loads of filming done. I got loads of editing done. I got so many things done that I wanted to do and I didn't leave the house. Oh God, I love days like that. But today just feels like it's been manic and I feel like I need to like decompress. Don't know if you ever find that, but if you're ever out and about and there's just so many people and there's so many things going on, you just need a moment where you're just like, right, you know what? I need a good half hour to an hour by myself so I can just decompress. And I think I'm in that stage and I probably should have done that before updating so you didn't get all this chaotic rambleness, but you're along for the ride. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, right, I'm talking nonsense. I'm gonna go. It is 8:30 of an evening. I am all in my comfy clothes, ready for just like chilling in bed. But we have some updates. So I'm going to be starting the readathon, the relax and readathon in about half hour's time. I wanted to update this vlog because I'm not going to be updating tomorrow because it's the readathon fully all day. But I've made some really good progress in both books, so I wanted to talk about it. Also, the lighting is terrible. We've got the lighting, like the overhead lighting on. It's not the best. The Vampire Lestat. So I am up to page 453. I've got about 100 pages left and I've really struggled with this. Not even the last bit. I think since about the 300 page mark, actually no, before that, maybe like the 200 page mark, I've been finding this just a little bit too drawn out. I was thinking about it today about what it could be about this book that I'm just struggling with, and it's the fact that it's the same things that are brought up time and time again. It's the same argument of thinking about how he is now this evil monster, this evil creation, and how he still wants to do good and how he's really struggling with that. And while I understand that, it doesn't need to be done for this long. So like those sort of philosophical debates about God, Satan, about the fact that it's all just kind of made up by man, is it even real, and all those things which are talked about in this book are done to such an extreme depth that I just am getting bored of it. I don't mind it if it's a bit and then you have it left to the reader to think about, to speculate, to make their own ideas on. Instead, this is a theme that is pushed to the extreme constantly. We even get a bit where we're actually getting background of a character that we met in the first book, and we're seeing how they became a vampire, and even they have it that they then go on and on about it, and I'm just like, yes, I get it, yes, I do like this, but it's been like this from the start of the book. Like, I started editing this vlog and was talking about how in this first bit how he was struggling with knowing his place in the world and wanting to do good and how to do good and how to utilize these different things, and it's still going on. And that's the thing that I'm just finding is so drawn out. If there was more things discussed, if there was more to it than just this debate, I feel like I'd be a lot more intrigued. As it is, it's getting to the point that when those bits come up, I'm skim reading. And while yes, things started to get a little bit more interesting, I'm not gonna lie, because we started getting more of the actual closer lead up to Interview with the Vampire, which I did like. I like those connections that we made. Blind Man at the start of Interview with the Vampire with this bit, like it works really well. It's still those long tangents about this, and I'm just like, I am losing the connection to the book because it's so drawn out, which is such a shame, because I really wanted to love this book because I was really expecting to enjoy it. Now I knew I had some reservations because so many people had said it is a book that they don't feel is as good as Interview with a Vampire, but there were also a few people that said they think this book is better than Interview with a Vampire. I'm falling into the category where I prefer the first book, and it's just such a shame that this hasn't held up for me. So yeah, I just feel like if this book was shorter, I would probably be madly in love with it, because the writing is still beautiful. I love the themes that are being explored. It's just the fact that this is so drawn out and the same things are repeated so many times. But I have 100 pages left, so it's not going to take me long to finish. And then Interview with the Vampire. No. Death Comes to Marlowe. Oh my god, I'm enjoying this so much. I literally just stopped reading it to do this update and to put it down for the next 24 hours. I won't be touching it. But I'm up to chapter 35, page 286, and we've just had a development, and I am loving this book so much. Oh, I'm enjoying it so much. The blue tab is no longer just facts about the case, it's also clues. And then the orange tab is still my suspects, my suspicions, things that don't really add up, all of those question marks, whereas the blue is all the actual facts and clues of the case. And I'm just loving it so much, and I don't have long. I've got 70 pages left to go of this book, and it is killing me to leave it here. Like honestly, I have spent the last like 2 hours just sat here. I've got my pillow here, so it's all nice and comfy, stretched out on my sofa, reading this book. Don't even realize the time's passing. I'm having so much fun with this book. So yeah, this is great. I'm enjoying it so much, and I'm so pleased that I made the decision to have both of these on at the same time. I think if I tried forcing myself to read just this one, I would have ended up being so much more disappointed with it and so much more likely to DNF it. Whereas when I get to that point where I'm like, okay, it's getting really dry, I can't do it anymore, as beautiful as the writing is, I just can't keep reading anymore, that's when I can just go to this, and it's great. It's great to have that, because I am still really enjoying this for the beautiful writing, but this just gives me the entertainment, the intrigue, the wanting to solve everything. Do I have a suspect in mind? Yes, sort of, but also no. Like, it's so good. I love it so much. I'm having so much fun with it. I do have a suspect. It was the first person that I thought, and I actually wrote, but is that a red herring, because it seems a bit too obvious. And then we have been pushed in this other direction, which we all know technically isn't possible, but at the same time is still the viable, where all the clues and facts and that are leading to as that person. It's just so much fun. I'm enjoying it. I'll be really intrigued to see if my first orange, okay, technically not my first orange. Yes, it was. It's still to do with the same person, is actually the person. I really don't think it's going to be, but I will love it if it was. I'll be so like, aha, I knew it. But also I didn't, because I questioned myself, and I'm having so much fun with it. But yeah, I'm not touching either of these books for the next 24.5 hours. Readathon is going to be starting at 9 p.m. tonight. Then Saturday during the day I'm busy, so it looks like it's going to be Saturday evening that I can get back to these, and then finishing it up Sunday and closing this vlog out on Sunday. If I get these two books done on Sunday, I am changing up the readathon slightly, so it includes another book for Jan's readathon. So that means by the end of this week I will have the readathon done. We'll see if that actually happens, because I could end up changing my mind. But yes, okay, right, I now need to start the readathon, start doing the intro for that, and get to reading more books. doing Jan's Readathon, and I'm so happy with it. So it's been a busy couple of days. So since I last updated, I have done the 24-hour readathon. Hopefully that should be up before this video. That was really good. I had a lot of fun doing that. I got so much read, and I got a book read for Jan's Readathon, so that's great. And since then, I have finished the 2 books that I was reading for this video. Unfortunately, the Vampire Lestat didn't change for me. It ended up staying that little bit of a disappointing, too long-winded read for me. I think personally, if this book had been about 200 pages shorter, I would have been a lot more invested in it and just cared that little bit more about what was going on. But as it was so drawn out and so repetitive that I just no longer cared, and it is such a shame. But I have decided I'm not going to continue on with the rest of the series. I'm going to leave it with Into the Vampire. I love that book. It is fantastic. It has all my love. This one I'm going to probably leave for a little while before I decide whether I'm going to unhaul it or not. Could be that I read it at a different time and I prefer it. But at the same time, I am thinking I would rather just reread Into the Vampire rather than trying to tackle this again. But I'm going to wait and see how I feel. It was disappointing. I have to admit, I did skim read a lot of the end of the book because I was just like, yep, we've had this conversation. We've seen these different things that are happening. There would be a few things here and there that I'd be like, oh, I like this. This is really good. This has my interest. And then it would just drop again. And I'm just like, just doesn't work for me, unfortunately. So that was a shame. But I did finish Death Comes to Marlowe, and I loved this so much. I loved the twist in this. I thought the reveal was really well done. It was good. I enjoyed it so much. It was fun, entertaining. I liked the kind of like sub mystery thing that was going on. It was kind of obvious, but I also loved it. And there was just so much. There was so much about this book that I really liked, and I just like our characters. I just think they're really fun, and Judith is just such a good character. Like, she's definitely my favourite. She's so good. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with this, how this all turned out. I just thought it was such a good time, which I know I've said lots now, but it really was a really good cozy murder mystery, and this has cemented the fact that I do want to read Robert Thorogood's Backlist, although that has tie-ins to the TV show Death in Paradise, which I need to see if I need to watch that before I read the spin-off novels, because we do have spin-off novels featuring the detective inspector. So I don't know, we'll have to see, or maybe I can try and watch that somewhere. I don't know. Regardless, I really liked it, and I thought Robert Thorogood's just a really good cozy author that I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on and getting whatever they bring out, because it was great. I loved it. But I wanted to do a quick recap of Jan's Readathon with the book that I read in last week's vlog, as well as the book I read during the 24-hour readathon. This is all done because I am going to finish the readathon here. Technically, I am 2.5 days early. As much as, yes, I have that 2.5 days, I know I'm not going to be able to complete another character in that time. I've got too much going on, too many things I need to read, so we are just going to leave it here because I finished the 2 characters that I wanted to read for Jan's Readathon, which I am very happy with. So the 2 characters that I wanted are the Raven and the Mummy. We started out with reading a book for the Mummy, which is Finlay Donovan Knocks Them Dead by Ellie Cosmano. This is the 2nd book in the series. I had a lot of fun with it. It's kind of ridiculous, not as good as the 1st book, but still good enough for me to want to continue on with the series, so I'm really happy with that. And this one was for the prompt book that's been on my TBR for a while, something like that. I keep forgetting the exact wording of this one, and my phone is across the room, so no one's going to get up and get that. Worked for the Mummy prompt. In my 24-hour readathon, I tackled the Raven prompt of reading a classic, and I read Carmilla, the edited version, and I had a really good time with this. I'll have that video linked below for you. This was really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a reread of Carmilla for me, but I enjoyed the extra additions from Carmen Maria Macedo that added a nice little extra to the book and made me think about the story in a different way, which I really appreciated. And then of course the books that we read this week, we have Vampire Lestat, which was fill-in paperback for the Mummy, and Death Comes to Marlowe, which was read a book by a favourite author for the Raven prompt. There are 2 lifestyle prompts that go along with both these cards, and I have actually completed those. The Raven was to do some journaling, which I did during the 24-hour readathon, and then the Mummy bit, which is to wrap up what I've done, which I'm doing currently. Completed those 2 2 characters. I'm really happy with that. I'm honestly just pleased that I got the 2 done that I wanted to get done. Thank you to Jan for hosting this. I'm so glad that I was able to take part, and it was really fun, and she does a lot of work to get this all done, so thank you so much for that. But that does mean we're at the end of the video, so thank you so much for watching. Although actually I do want to just say that those cheese and onion pasties that I made came out massive, were so tasty. Like, I am so impressed with that. They were done with puff pastry because I had leftovers from the readathon. I didn't know what I wanted to do with the puff pastry. I looked online, said about a cheese and onion pasty, and I was like, actually, not a bad shout. Really easy to make and so tasty. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. I thought that was so good. Although now thinking about it is making me hungry. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've made it this far or you just don't know what you want to comment, as I was just talking about food, leave your favourite food emoji in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing, commenting. Those 3 things really help this channel out. My social media links and anyone I've mentioned will be linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.